Now in this debate, 99% of the people can be broken down into one of three categories. There's people who believe that gays should have no rights whatsoever. There's people who believe that civil unions are the answer. Then there are the people who believe that gays should have all the rights just like anyone else, no holds barred. So, the rest of this video is going to be dedicated just to that second group, the people who believe that civil unions are the answer. The people who believe that gays should have no rights whatsoever, I don't waste my time with it. Usually there's religious reasons tied up in that. I could scream and yell and give all the facts and information I could for years, and there are only a few people who are going to change their minds about that. The people who believe that gays should have all rights just like anyone else, you're with me already, so you're good to go. So, to that second group, what I want to say is this. I think a lot of times people don't understand the differences between marriages and civil unions. Like, why are they relevant? Why does either one actually exist if the other one does? If you get married in Vermont, then if you get up and move anywhere else, then it's no problem at all. You stay married and just move to another state. If you get a civil union in Vermont, then you have to basically stay there to have that civil union recognized. Because as soon as you leave Vermont, that civil union doesn't carry any weight whatsoever. Let's say years go by. You did move out of Vermont even though another state didn't recognize your civil union. Things go bad, you decide to get divorced. Well, one of you, at least one of you, has to be a resident of Vermont. So if you haven't lived there in a while or you move your residency somewhere else, then at least one of you has to move back to Vermont, live there for 1 year to establish residency before you can start the proceedings to dissolve a civil union. Depending on how a state is set up, civil unions can be used for tax benefits in that state. They are not used for tax benefits on the federal level. Now there are lots of other benefits that are not given to people with civil unions that are given to people who are married. The Lambda Legal Defense came up with a list and included over 1,400 benefits. These include joint parental rights of children, joint adoption, status as next of kin for hospital visits and medical decisions, the right to make a decision about the disposal of a loved one's remains, crime victims' recovery benefits, domestic violence protection orders, judicial protections and immunity, automatic inheritance in the absence of a will, public safety officers' death benefits, spousal veterans' benefits, Social Security, Medicare, joint filing of tax returns, wrongful death benefits for surviving partner and children, bereavement or sick leave to care for a partner or a child, child support, joint insurance plans, tax credits including child tax credit, HOPE, and lifetime learning credits, deferred compensation for pensions and IRAs, estate and gift tax benefits, welfare and public assistance, joint housing for elderly, credit protection, and medical care for survivors and dependents of certain veterans. It's also important, and I think interesting to note, since we're talking about federal information, that Brown versus the Board of Education was the precedent that the Massachusetts Supreme Court used to overturn the ban on gay marriage because it created a separate and unequal status for gays. Brown versus the Board of Education, that was the precedent used to allow gays to get married in Massachusetts. Think about that the next time you're talking about civil unions being a good solution instead of marriage. This idea of giving civil unions instead of marriages to gays is basically coming down to an idea of containment. Now the idea of containment, now that worked back in the Cold War, but this is not the same situation. The containment that we're talking about here is to slow the movement and the progress of marriage. We're not at war with another country or another ideology. We're talking about fellow Americans here. Because I got news for you. The only thing progress really needs is open minds and time. And time's not stopping. And I truly believe that all American citizens will be able to get married to anyone that they want to eventually. So I pose this question. When it happens, and 50 years pass, and your kids or your grandkids ask you, where did you stand on this issue? Well, what are you going to tell them? Did you stifle progress, or did you help lead the way for equality? Keep in mind that in 50 years, this is basically going to be a non-issue. No one's going to care. And so it's going to be looked at by people of my age just the same way that we look at segregation. When we ask, well, why was segregation ever allowed? The one thing that really gets to me more than anything else is the idea that whenever you're pushing civil unions over marriage, you're belittling people. You're in effect saying that the love that a homosexual couple feels is less than the love that a heterosexual couple feels. You're saying that a gay person is less of a person than a straight person. It's saying that everyone who's an American has all these freedoms and they can do anything they want because America is a free nation. Except for certain people over here. They're not going to have all the freedoms. We're going to cherry pick the freedoms that they get. Every argument that I have ever heard about this topic, the ones included into this video and the ones who didn't make it into this video, have all implied or just outright said that. But what this comes down to is that even if you don't realize it, as you're making the argument for civil unions, that you're basically making an argument to stop freedom. You're making an argument to stop fairness. Because of your argument, it helps to bolster fear. And when you do that, you're basically prolonging an argument of misunderstanding, which is not only without virtue, but also human decency. Now, as I said at the end of all of my videos, if you have questions, comments, anything at all, feel free to email us. Go get a library card to learn more about it. Go online and learn more. You can stop us on campus. If you're watching on YouTube, you can send a personal message or leave a text comment. That's fine. I always welcome debate and open exchange of ideas. So, thank you very much for staying with us through this, and have a great day.